Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Sword Art Online Alicization anime review. This one is for episode 20, which is called Synthesis. And this is another really good episode. Obviously, I think this episode will mainly be remembered for the, obviously, confrontation about to happen right at the end here. The reveal, I suppose, officially to us of Yugioh Synthesis 32. And the fight with Kirito just about to start. But it was also probably one of Alice's best episodes as well, just getting to know her personality now that she's broken the seal on her eye. The emotion of her relationship with Bercoli, I think, came across quite well. And especially in that scene, him mentioning that he's proud of her, that she's managed to break through that seal, a seal he was unable to break through for 300 years. I think that's just interesting that he's so old, that he's aware of basically the situation that he's in, but has been unable to break out of it. I think that's just an interesting kind of take on it, for sure. And then, there were some fun Kirito-Alice moments at the very start. But we then get, I suppose, the Prime Senator Chidolkin and the senators just in the first place. It was just revealing to us more of the, I suppose, depraved things that the administrator does to keep control. That she has these pretty much almost like lifeless beings that just exist to, enforce the taboo index and report on it and so on. And the food tube scene thing, I think, made that really clear that that's what she does. She pushes things to the limit to sort of test where they are and just create this system that works completely in her favor. It felt very much like the two younger Integrity Knights that we met a couple of episodes ago, and her testing the limits of healing on them by having them constantly kill each other. It was like that with the senators here, but she's just turned them into the perfect monitors basically, and that's pretty much all they exist to do, is just act as this kind of group of magic users basically within the world. And we find that they also have a use for doing the forced synthesis ritual, because that was, I suppose, the big reveal in the Chodalkin scene was first of all showing us that he's basically watching the seduction scene that we saw from last week play out. Alice and Kirito don't notice it, but it's just finishing up right as they're having that scene with Chodalkin. So I think that's an interesting, and he stalls for time by explaining some of this stuff to them, including the fact that there is a forced way to do what Administrator did to Yugioh. She coerced him into removing the core seal himself. Alice refused that initially, and so she was forced by the power of so many magic users using the system call to force that pathway open so that the synthesis ritual could be done on her. The main thing is just they're trying to make you really, really, really hate Chodalkin, and they definitely accomplished that. He's loud, annoying, obnoxious, and also kind of cruel and sadistic. But as I suppose we learn, he is also one of the most powerful magic users in this world, with the fact that he's able to just immediately freeze Bercoli. Though we did get the explanation that he just has permission to basically do that. If any of the Integrity Knights step out of line, he's able to just turn them to stone with the deep freeze call. I suppose, speaking of system calls, really, really clever and nice use of system call from Kirito with the Umbra element to track the Blue Rose Sword. I thought that was really clever. It shows that he's doing a pretty complicated art that even Alice initially didn't seem to understand, at least based off just her knowledge of what the words mean. So it's this kind of fun thing of just Kirito, because he gets the sort of computer speak, that he is able to do a very complicated but subtle command like that to just help them find where all of this is actually happening. And so in that sense, this episode was fairly simple. It was just a handful of scenes, with the real core being just getting to the reveal right at the end of Yugioh Synthesis 32. And here it's it's obviously the reveal of this is meant to be this incredibly emotional thing, because as they say, it's only been an hour. How did this happen? They've just been told that it's this, it can be this process. It can take a very long time to happen, but it's happened to Yugioh within an hour, and he immediately seems to be one of, if not the most powerful Integrity Knights. What happened? Like, obviously we saw that he willingly gave himself up, and that's why it happened so quickly. But still, it's a really cool design, actually, seeing Yugioh in the armor like that, but also seeing him not remember Kirito or Alice, because obviously the memories that were taken from him were clearly his memories of Alice, because that's who he cares about the most, but also forgetting about his whole history, so he doesn't remember Kirito either here, but he does remember his sword, and there's a significance to that, and just the fact that we're going into effectively the clash of black and white swords, Kirito having to face the Integrity Knight version of his friend, the fact that Kirito steps up and is like, I taught you everything you know, I'm not going to let the master lose to the student here. And it's going to be really cool, because it's going to be all Aincrad style, all combo moves that we know and have seen before, and Alice sort of reacting on the sideline. It's going to be fun to see that, because she's going to see a very different type of, I suppose, sword duel than she's seen before, but because she's sort of more emotionally awakened, she's going to understand, like, for Kirito, how emotional this is, what's actually happening here. So definitely powerful scene right at the end, the fact that, you know, Yugioh willingly handed himself over. He's working for administrator now, and he's basically just like, she gives me everything I need, I don't care about you, let's fight. Obviously we're going to get more into the depth of exactly what's going on here when we see them go back and forth in the fight, both in terms of the choreography, hopefully it's really good choreography, and also what they say to each other going back and forth. But yeah, I don't think there's a ton to talk about with this one. Last week's episode, I think, was one of my longer reviews of Alicization, because there was just so much to talk about with some really, really big character scenes. This one, not as much. It was very kind of straightforward, to the point. It played the exact role that this episode needed to play, and in that sense there's nothing to really complain about, but there's also not a ton to discuss just yet, because even the reveal of Yugioh right at the end is more how about we see what he's exactly like in the next one. So yeah, I'm just going to wrap it up there and just be like, yep, this was a very, very solid episode. It did exactly what it had to, and that's really all there is to say about it. So if you have more to say about this episode, let me know in the comments below. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.